Hello, hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio, a special episode of Inglês no Rádio. I always begin the show by saying, my name's Foster, I'm an English teacher, and I'm here with, and then Alexia says, Alexia. But this time, it's not Alexia. Who am I here with?
You're here with your mom and dad.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Foster.
Okay, Mom, you're going to have to speak into the mic.
Okay. Hey, Foster.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to let you guys take it away. Just speak normally. I think this will be an awesome experience for all of our listeners to hear some real unfiltered Southern English.
Well, first of all, Foster, we wanted to tell you how much we've enjoyed you quarantining with us for the last 6 months. But it's been fun.
Okay, so I was thinking I could just give y'all a topic for a conversation and you two could talk about it. Is that cool?
That is fine with me.
Okay.
Maybe.
So something that I kind of know the story of, but not that well, to be honest. How did y'all meet?
Well, this will be interesting to see if our recollections match up. So it's been almost 40 years. It has been 40 years, hasn't it?
It was 1980.
1980, so it has been 40 years. 40 years ago.
40 years, actually, in 2 months?
Yep.
I think.
Been a great 40 years.
Do y'all know the date?
The date we actually met first, no. Okay, so this is the funny part of the story. So...
And if he messes up, I'll correct him.
Laura was a student at Converse College. I was a couple years older, so I was already back in Spartanburg and living and working here. And we happened to frequent the same college bar where all of her girlfriends and all my boyfriends used to go.
So just to take a beat and explain this a little bit. So Mom went to university in Spartanburg, where you are from, where we currently live, right?
Correct.
And you went to Converse College,
Yes.
which at the time was an all-girls school and
Yes.
still is, right?
It is. Well, no, we're actually now gone co-ed.
Co-ed this year.
That
Okay.
means boys and girls.
Yep.
But just to set the scene, my mom was still in university studying here. Dad had already finished university, and you came back to Spartanburg to work with your father, I presume.
Correct.
Can we call me jailbait?
I don't know what that means.
I was younger. He was older.
I don't know what jailbait means.
Look it up. Look it up. That's a Southern term. But so interesting twist to the story is I was a self-professed amateur photographer, and I had a friend who owned a restaurant. He was my age, still my best friend. Laura and her girlfriends used to eat at Wade's 2 or 3 times a week. And so Hamp said, I'm going to do a little promotion. Can you come take a picture of these girls that come out eating? And I'm going to put their picture in the Converse newspaper. And he thinks that'd be great. So I went out there and we met and we had a little stage. We had them eating biscuits and stuff. Well, one of the girls was Laura. And this was her freshman year in college. This was 1976.
Okay. And just to clarify, freshman year, that's your first year of university.
It was actually in the fall, and Hamp invited us to do this because I had a lot of cute friends, and he was just trying to get to know us better, and they thought they were going to be really cool and set up this photography studio type thing in the restaurant. It was a ploy.
It was a planned strategy.
Yes.
So just to make sure we are all on the same page, Dad finished university and you were into photography. Your best friend had a restaurant and asked if you would take pictures of some pretty girls. And in this case, it happened to be Mom and her friends.
Exactly.
But the good thing about it, in the end, the photograph was actually printed and in our college yearbook. So it was legit in the end.
But nothing became of the meeting. I didn't remember them. They didn't remember me. Later I found out that Laura had a boyfriend anyway, so she wasn't.
A lavalier around my
She
neck.
wasn't interested. So fast forward 3 years later.
My senior year.
Her senior year.
So my fourth and final year of university.
So you guys met. Dad took pictures of Mom and your friends.
He walked out the door, and that was it.
Clearly, you did not make a great
No,
first impression.
obviously I did make a very good first impression. We went our separate ways for a couple of years, and I would see them about and about. I knew some of the girls, and they knew who we were, but nobody dated. I mean, we would see y'all at Brandy's. Yeah, but...
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but we never really never crossed paths.
Okay. Mom, do you want to explain what Brandy's is?
Brandy's was our local hangout, and it's your corner pub, and it was frequented by every single college student in Spartanburg. There was an all-boys school, Wofford College, and I went to the all-girls school, Converse College. So Wofford and Converse met up every weekend at Brandy's.
So it's a bar where college kids hang out.
Preacher kid meets husband in a bar. But
we'll get to that. Your father was a preacher, so you are
a PK.
Affectionately known as a PK.
Yes.
Preacher's kid.
So you're fast forwarding to my senior year when we met up back out at Brandy's before the dorm visit.
No, you're missing a very important event that really I think is when I realized that I would like to get to know you better.
When I was out at Brandy's and had too much to drink and was telling funny jokes.
Well, that was one of them. But so Hamp and I again, his name comes up again. We were really desperate to meet girls, and so we decided with a couple of our other friends.
Don't mention any names here.
We are going to throw a party, and we're going to invite every girl we know and all of their friends to have a roller skating party. And we rented a roller skating rink.
A disco roller skating.
This is 1980. So we rented a roller skating rink Sunday night at 7:00. And all the beer you could drink, and we probably had 100 people. And Laura showed up with all of her pretty girlfriends, and we were all skating around. And somehow we started skating together and ended up holding hands and skating.
Ooh,
and
scandalous.
It was.
Because I had on pink pants and a little white eyelet shirt.
And we had a good time, but everything. But I called her up the next week for a date, and that's kind of how it all started.
Well, no, you have to finish that story.
Well,
we didn't know that we had met in years past. He walks around my college dorm, and my room was on the first floor. And he peeked in my window, and on the wall was this picture of all of us at Wade's when we had done the advertisement. And he looked in the window and he said, I took that picture. I had no clue that he took the picture.
Obviously, she didn't remember.
So just to see if I understand this correctly, after you guys had already met many years before, you meet again. You hit things off at a bar, and then you go roller skating. And at some point, it seems like Dad is just kind of creepily walking around a college campus, looks into Mom's room, sees a picture that you took, and
he was
the rest is
me up
history.
For a date. He had to come to the front door. But can we tell about the Chip Bulls version of because you didn't.
So she had.
I met several people the night of the skating party.
Little did I know that she broke up with her longtime boyfriend during that same year. So she was suddenly free, and she was playing the field.
I was not playing.
So I had another friend who was in our circle of friends.
Y'all just like
me, and his name was
new and different.
His nickname was Homer, and we were out at Brandy's one night, and I didn't know at the time that Laura had gone out with Homer.
I hadn't gone out with him.
Yeah, you had gone out with Homer because
I went out with him on Friday night and went out with you on Saturday night.
You had already gone out with him because we were at the bar and you called me Homer.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
I do.
So to go out with someone is to date someone, to go on a date.
We actually, when we were in college, I don't know if everybody does that anymore. They asked you out on a proper date, and they would call you up on a landline and say, would you like to go out to dinner? And it would be dinner and a movie or...
Yeah. Nowadays, you just jump on a Zoom call.
So our first official date was, so this is spring of Laura's senior year. So she had exams, and I asked her out. She says, I can't go now because I've got to study for exams. And I said, well, how about taking a break? And she agreed, and we met at the Sugar and Spice. She took a study break, and we ate hot fudge cakes.
We split a hot fudge cake
and a glass of iced tea, and that was it. That was our first date. And so then I called her after her exams, and we had one official date. And I pulled out all the stops, too. I took her to the tea house at Lake Lanier. Oh, it was so romantic.
Tell them what we ordered.
And it was a neat place. And I thought
back up. We got to tell them the funny part. Dad had what was called an RX-7.
Oh, yeah. It was a cool
sports car. And it had a sunroof, or a top that could come off.
Yeah.
You normally say sunroof, right?
Sunroof, yeah.
Yeah.
This one was different. You could see through it. It was glass. But you could either tilt it up or you could take it off completely.
Right.
So he thought he would be real impressive. It's a beautiful drive up into the mountains for dinner. And he pulled over and was going to pull off the roof so the moon would be shining through the car. It would be all nice and romantic. He couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I'd never taken it off.
Out, maybe it really wasn't his car. It was
It's a cool car.
Okay.
So we get to the tea house, and I thought I'd be real cool and debonair, and I ordered the fresh rainbow trout.
Debonair.
Yeah.
Quite a word.
It is and your mom ordered a steak, which I thought was pretty good. And when they brought my trout out, it was a full head-on, eyes looking at me trout.
It was the whole fish.
The whole fish. And I had never eaten a whole fish before. And Laura's sitting there munching on this beautiful steak. And I'm having a hard time with this fish.
We had to cover it up with some parsley.
I actually put my napkin over his head so I couldn't look at his eyes when I was eating him. We laughed about that. But we had a great first date. I got to admit, it was a great first date. And I thought
after dinner, then you took me back to
the lake.
And he had chilled wine on the boat, and we had probably 11 o'clock in the evening, little sunset cruise around the lake with a bottle of wine.
Wasn't that? I mean, that's pretty good for a 23-year-old, don't you think?
It's very romantic.
Yeah, it was.
And I did. I woke up my roommate when I got back to my dorm and said, I'm not sure if I will ever see him again, but I think I want to marry somebody just like him.
Well, there's nobody just like me, but.
So I got stuck with him.
At the end of the day, she did marry someone exactly like him.
Well,
that's our story.
The challenge after that was she graduated from college and moved back to Columbia, 90 miles away.
Which is an entirely other story that we can definitely tell. But I think that's probably a lot of really intense English for most of our listeners.
Intense Southern English.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine Alexia listening to that conversation.
She would get it.
She would get it 100%, but she would have a lot of questions. Like,
well, good. You want questions from your students.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I thought I was trying to be real careful not to use any words
That was awesome. Anything else y'all want to add?
The rest is history. 40 years of wedded bliss and 2 wonderful children. Life is good.
Cool. I agree. We should do it again. soon.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Love you, Foster. Love you, Laura.
Love y'all too.
Love you too.